Hey, so we're talking about crispy dogs. We're geeking out about crispy dogs. Up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're doing something different.
We are doing something different. So
Yeah.
I drug Vincent into the kitchen because I had seen this week on Instagram in Texas Monthly, the San Antonio Current, some of the San
And I
Antonio
actually
newspapers.
saw this on the news.
Oh, did you
The
really?
San Antonio news. Yeah,
Okay,
they were talking
yeah.
about that.
So that some of the things that are original to San Antonio are starting to kind of die out, and we're kind of losing them. And so one of the things that they said that they were talking about was crispy dogs, and I thought, well, we can't let crispy dogs die.
Yeah. Well, because you had never heard about crispy dogs until we got married.
Never. So I've never heard of a crispy dog in my entire life. I have no idea what this thing is. And he wants me to fix crispy dogs. And I'm like, fix a what? Do a huh?
Well, I fixed crispy dogs for you first.
Yeah. Well, because you had to, because I didn't know what you were talking about. You're talking to me about it, and I'm looking at you like you're nuts, right? So, and I just kind of took it for granted that it was a family thing. Like, my family makes these weird tacos that are kind of like Jack in the Box tacos that Vincent doesn't understand, where you take the tortilla and you spread the ground beef on it, and then you cook it. He doesn't get it. So I thought, well, crispy dogs are like a family thing.
Well, I mean, I learned to get it.
Well, yeah, and I learned to get crispy dogs. But,
So you got them right off, though.
yeah, they're really tasty. Well, so we went the other day to Ray's Drive-In,
Yes.
which is the home of the Puffy Tacos. So Puffy Tacos began here in San Antonio as well, and there's all this contingency of who did it first and who did it best, and Puffy Tacos are the best. So Ray's supposedly was the first Puffy Taco ever, right? Well, lo and behold.
But they were brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry
and Ray.
Henry and Ray.
For Henry's Puffy Tacos. So Ray's has crispy dogs on the menu. And I'm like, wait a minute, like other people eat crispy dogs?
Oh, God.
Here I am like 20 years later, and I'm like, other people besides Vincent family eat crispy dogs? I just thought it was a family thing. Like, I didn't know that it was like a South Side thing, right? I didn't know. And so then, funny, I see it on Instagram, and so I read the history of it, and yeah, it started like at Ray's and Henry's, and they had it on the menus, and they learned it from like moms and grandmas when at the end of the month you didn't have much left, except for enough money to buy hot dogs, because yes, we're that old that, you know, hot dogs used to be like 29 cents a package.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, grandmas used to get that, and flour tortillas they could make, corn tortillas they could make at home with things that they had at home, so you didn't even have to buy those. And so that's disconcerting, huh?
Yeah.
I hit the wrong camera, too, so.
Yeah.
So when I think of like poor white people food, it's like vegetable soup or like navy beans and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I grew up poor, and so when it was the end of the month, those were the kinds of things that you would eat. So apparently crispy dogs were a thing that towards the end of the month, when you were running out of staples, that was the thing to eat.
Well, it's just kind of like comfort food.
Yes.
It's comfort food. It's real easy to make. I started making them because you do them differently than I started making them. When I make them, you kind of we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. So we wanted to show you this and then kind of talk about like passing this on to you guys. So if you don't live in San Antonio and you want to try this is something we want to pass on to you. If you do live in San Antonio and you haven't had them before, we'd like to pass it on to you because we were kind of thinking about like geeking out and fandom and stuff, and that stuff wouldn't be where it is without us passing it on to one another, right?
Yep.
My dad used to watch Doctor Who on PBS when I was a kid growing up. My parents watched Star Trek when I was a kid growing up. So they passed that on to me. Now, did I move on to like RPGs and other stuff? My dad used to love the Conan, the Barbarian comic book, because he liked to do figure drawing and stuff. He wanted to draw for science textbooks. That was what my dad always wanted to do. So he loved those kind of comic books and stuff. So I got that love and then kind of transferred it over to our kids, and Vincent had his and transferred it over to our kids as well. And then our kids are bigger into like anime and video games. So, but it's just about like passing these things on,
Right.
so that they
Right.
don't die and go nowhere. So we want to pass this on. So the first thing we have to do is turn on the burner.
Twice I did that. To the wrong camera.
You're okay. He's okay because this is new. So I'm going to turn on the burner, and I just have like a little skillet, and I'm going to just use vegetable oil. That's what I have always used. That's what I prefer.
So typically a crispy dog, what a crispy dog is, it's a hot dog with a corn tortilla wrapped around, then you fry it. How my family has done it for years is we cut a middle down the slit. We cut a slit down the middle,
I know what you meant.
and we put cheese in there.
Yes. And
So-
that's the way I had always had it, but I've seen some other ways to do it.
So we've done it in a few ways. We've done it with the original, how I remembered having it was with Oscar Mayer wieners.
Yep.
Yep.
Those
So
are awesome.
Oscar Mayer. So we got some of those. Now, when he and I were growing up together, so to speak, we were in our 20s and we had kids. We couldn't afford Oscar Mayer, so it was Bar S,
It
right?
was Bar S back then. Yeah.
So this is what I'm used to because most of the time we had Bar S.
So this was like maybe $1.12
Yeah, in today's market, it was $1.12.
right now. $1.12.
Dude, weren't those like 80 cents or something?
I think they were like 80 cents, maybe even less.
I think they were like 9 cents when we first started buying them for a package.
I would like to put I'm also younger.
Yes, you are younger. We're almost 50, so it's a little different. But now
sorry.
we're old and bougie.
Oh,
So we're like, oh,
So since
why
we're
don't
old
we
and
try
bougie, we like
Nathan's?
Nathan's hot dogs.
Oh.
They're the best.
They are.
So for tortillas, we didn't make our own. Sorry, hate to disappoint y'all. But we did buy H-E-B because hello, San Antonio and H-E-B.
Yep.
So we bought H-E-B. And then another type is
The
Mission. Mission tortillas.
And this is your little bougie thing
And this
because
is-
you're going to do red.
Yeah, so I wanted to go bougie with the Nathan, so I got some red ones.
And if y'all have any questions, we do have chat set up right here. So if you have anything to ask us or anything like that, we'll go ahead and answer you here.
So we went ahead and bought these today because when you buy them same day, they're still pretty soft and you don't really have to do much to them. You could put them in the oil like you would for enchiladas and kind of get the oil on them and soften them up, but you really don't have to when you buy them same day. So we went ahead
So
and
what
bought
are we going to
these.
start out with? We're gonna-
Start from like the worst to the best.
Yeah, start with the Bar S. Well, I think they're awesome, so I don't know about them being the
But
worst.
thing
Hold on.
is, sometimes like the worst ones that we got comfort from is just like what we're used to. So
Right.
like that's what we keep using.
So, and Vincent's gonna have me cook them because he always learned to cook them with toothpicks in them. But I don't have any more. I don't keep toothpicks anymore because I don't use them. I don't like the toothpicks, so I just roll it up and I just hold it with the tongs and kind of put it on there until it seals itself up. So I'm gonna be the cooker today, and he's gonna be the prepper today.
There you go.
So we did get cheddar from
Cheddar is
H-E-B,
better.
sharp cheddar. What we're gonna do is we got slices just to make it easier on us. And
Yeah. And then so you're just gonna cut a little slit in the middle and put some of that cheese down in there. So that's what he's gonna do.
Oh. Okay.
You
So-
want to hear we want to hear you
And we
open
just
cheese.
wash our hands before we did this,
Yes.
so we're
Hands are clean. I haven't pet the dog or anything. Although I don't know if you can see him, but he is down here. He can smell all of this. He knows that it's right here. He's like, can I put my nose high enough to grab this off
I'm just
of
waiting
the
to see like a
counter?
little paw on the counter. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for it.
okay.
So while Vince is cooking and prepping and stuff, one of the other things I wanted us to kind of talk about, since we're talking about history and stuff like that, and I'm kind of a history buff and Vince is kind of a history buff, is we went and kind of looked up. I was curious. Are you a history buff, Aaron? And Aaron's a history buff.
Also,
so,
just spent like 4 hours watching World War II videos.
Did
So
you?
yes, that was what I did yesterday.
well, so I was curious when did we first get comic books, right? Because
Okay.
I grew up liking Archie comics. We grew up with the comics in the Sunday paper. So you have the slit, you have the cheese. I put the cheese side down into the tortilla, and then I wrap the tortilla around it.
Anakin, Intently looking.
And this is where I would get the toothpick and stick it in
But
there.
I just hold it down in the oil until it seals.
Because the
itself.
toothpick helps hold it, right?
The
Yeah.
toothpick will help
Essentially.
hold it.
Okay.
But I kind of liked it when Colleen figured out how to do it without one. Because I always thought you needed one. Well, you need one.
Yeah.
She was like, no, you don't. You don't need one.
She's like, watch.
Well, and it makes it kind of wobbly when you do it with the toothpick
Well,
because
yeah.
the toothpick's in the way. So,
So let's do like 3 of these.
okay, well, get
Okay.
going, buddy. So I was curious, and I was doing some research on the history because I like to do research. I'm like,
Right.
let's delve into the rabbit hole that is the internet, and let's do some research, right? And so I think it always surprised me. I think as I'm older, it surprises me how far back things go, right?
Okay, so you're trying to figure out how far back comics went, though.
Right, because
Okay.
we all think Marvel and DC, right?
Right,
And
'cause that
Marvel,
puts you-
DC was in 1935.
Right.
Marvel was in 1936, okay? So I'm thinking, yeah, that's when, right? No,
But-
1890.
I was gonna say, I thought it was like late 19th century is what I
Yeah,
thought.
1890 was the first the first time they used the words comic book and they printed like a journal with comics in it.
Yeah.
Now, DC still has the kind of title basically of first comic book because everything from 1890 to 1935, so you're talking like 45 years, was all things that had been in magazines, journals,
Right.
newspapers, political cartoons.
Right.
It was like a compilation of all those things that everybody had already seen before in something, and then they put them in a book and made them into a comic book.
Almost
what
like a
they call-
collage or a compilation. Kind
Yeah, so it wasn't like anything was something original and new that you had never seen the storyline unless you bought the comic book until DC.
Of thing. Right.
And then for DC, that is still awfully hot, huh? For DC, I also didn't realize that DC was not called DC
Nope.
originally.
Nope.
It went by another name.
Yep, but I cannot remember it off the top of my head.
It was
But they didn't go to DC to like the 40s?
It was National Allied Publication. National Allied Publication. That was in 1935.
Right.
And they had something that wasn't Superman. It was new fantastic, I forget.
I don't remember the first one they
New
had.
Fun, maybe? New Fun, I think. So it wasn't Superman. Superman didn't come along until later, a
Yeah,
few
'cause he
years
came-
later. But he's technically, Superman is considered the first superhero ever.
Right. Because he came during the Depression. Because it was to try to help people not think about it.
Right, to help people kind of deal with what was going on. And,
Right.
and that was what kept Marvel and DC going at first for so long, was they were kind of like political, they were a way for people to kind of escapism, deal with
Right.
what was going on.
It's funny, though, because people always are like, comic books shouldn't be political. They've been political since day one.
They've always
yeah.
been political, yeah.
But
I
there's
mean,
so
that
many
was the
people-
whole point.
Yeah.
I mean, they had them like punching Hitler and all kinds of stuff. Like that was definitely a thing.
Exactly. But there's so many when you watch, I'll keep politics out of my comics. Go read your comics.
Go
again.
read your comics. Go learn some history about your comics, because
Why did it start? Because politics.
that was exactly why it started, was to kind of get people's minds off of things and to learn about that. And I forgot, I learned something, and this just reminded me, and I forgot it was another history thing.
But then
that
what
I
about
went,
Marvel? Because they didn't start off as Marvel. They started off as
oh,
Timely Comics or something like that.
something like that. But when the first Marvel, quote unquote Marvel, came out was not until 1939. And that was with the Human Torch. I wrote it down so I
Who
remember.
was it? Johnny.
It wasn't Johnny.
Nope.
It was a different Human Torch. Angel, Submariner, and the Masked Raider.
Yes, because they originally were the ones fighting the Nazis, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
And it's like, but if you think about those heroes now, how many people even know about them?
None.
Nobody, right?
And then
the
some
Human
Banner became a
Torch
villain.
maybe kind of, sort of, just because he ended up with the Fantastic Four.
But that's not even the same Human Torch.
Right.
And that's the funny thing is, and then you got Submariner who essentially became a villain instead.
Yeah. So it's interesting, and that was what made me kind of think about this topic while we were wanting to show off the crispy dogs, is if people don't connect with these heroes and they don't want to continue to see their storyline, they just die out and get replaced with somebody else.
Yep.
Like DC's done a really good job of keeping Superman and Batman to a point where people are invested, right? And dads are passing it on to kids, and then those kids are passing it on, and so on and so on. And that's the thing, is passing this history on to the next generation so that they love it. Like our kid, our youngest kid, he really loves Morbius, who is kind of very obscure. I mean, yeah, he just got a movie recently, but it wasn't like he grew up with Morbius. Like, it wasn't until he was a teenager and he found Morbius on his own, because Dad was always a Superman guy. And I did I'm more like Archie, and I collected The Simpsons and the Ninja Turtles. I was kind of like off the cuff. If I was going to do anything that was like Marvel or anything like that, it would have been X-Men.
The Nathans are harder to slice.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Because they're like kind of beefy or whatever.
Yeah, because those are supposed to be all beef, no pork, kosher style.
Kosher style.
Thank you, Jewish people, on that one. I love those. Those are my favorites, hot dogs.
Oh, mine too. They're so bougie. They're such bougie hot dogs.
It's like, why are you this bougie? I don't know.
I don't know, but I am so bougie.
I feel like if I ever go to a really famous rich person's house and they have hot dogs, they better be Nathan's, or I'm gonna be like, nah. Get this off my. Get out. I'm done.
Get it out of here. I need one more plate so that I can keep these separate, or I'll forget.
Kirkland's ones are pretty good, or pretty close.
Yeah, but the Kirkland ones are like a pound each or something. They're ridiculous.
Oh God.
They're like a quarter pound.
These are the Nathans, love?
These are Nathans.
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna go bougie with the red torts.
You gotta get the red ones.
Gotta go for the red torts.
Show the camera real quick. Can you bring it to that red one? Oh wait, before you was gonna say, see if you can get it.
Red.
It looks like a hot Cheeto right there.
Hot Cheeto
It does.
dog.
It's a big taki.
It's a big taki.
Right, that's what it looks like in the camera.
Taki.
I'd like to point out those was like a crimson red. No, it's not that dark. It's like a.
They're
blood-
pretty red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cameras don't do it justice.
But I think it's interesting. I don't know. Like when I was in my 20s and even in my 30s, I didn't really think about the history of things, right? Everything was just always there.
Right.
I didn't really think about it until I got older, and I was like, oh, wait. All of these things have a history and a past, and they come from somewhere, Like even,
But I think my first one was to superhero comics was Spider-Man, and Spider-Man comics in the
newspaper.
newspaper.
That was my first superhero. Yeah.
I had never seen a comic book till high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
see, I had seen comics. I mean, my dad had the comics, but again, my dad had like Conan. My dad had comics from when he was.
Yeah, but my mom didn't really take me to
your
comic book
mom-
stores.
Yeah.
I didn't really learn about it until, I remember going to back in the day, the dungeon on Fredericksburg.
I don't want to ask because I'm scared too.
Nah,
That
nah.
sounds like something else when you say the dungeon.
It was a
There was a comic
comic
book
book
store.
store.
Oh, okay, sure.
It was. You know what? I don't remember my parents taking me to a specific comic book store. You could buy X-Men comics and stuff at
Buy them out. Walmart.
Walmart, yeah.
Walden Books back in the day.
Yeah. Even at the gas station. You could buy them
Oh,
at the
wow.
gas station. Mm-hmm. So that's what I remember, is they had the little rack for the comics. But then my mom would always have to watch me because the naughty mags were over there too. She's like, "Don't look at that." I'm like, "I don't want to look at that. Why? Why?"
Yeah. No, okay. Wasn't planning on it.
I'm like, "Not to mention there's something covering it. Don't be weird."
Oh yeah, that's right. They had the plastic on them, right?
Yeah, they had the plastic that was colored or whatever. So, but yeah, I think we got all of our comics either from the gas station or from Walmart.
So I think I got mine from like Walmart and then Walden Books at the mall in Corpus Christi.
It wasn't until I think I was like in my 20s that we started going to, I don't even know if it was Dragon's Lair or if it was Alien Worlds where we used to get our comics. It was one of them because I had a spouse before Vincent, I know. And we used to get the box. We used to get the box. And I would get Ninja Turtles and I would get Simpsons. And he would get Spawn. So Spawn came out in 1992, which is when our oldest son was born. So our oldest son has the whole Spawn collection.
Dang.
From number 1 on because we collected it for him because it came out the year he was born. And Spawn was really, really popular in the 90s and it's kind of fizzled out. Although I think they're trying to make a comeback with Spawn because they're doing a lot of the figures. McFarlane Toys is doing.
Well, wasn't he
they were
doing the
coming
show?
up with a new show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to be, but I haven't heard if that's like really come to fruition yet or not. So
He mentions it. Todd McFarlane mentions it once in a while. He'll mention it. So I don't know if it's just like waiting on something.
who knows? I find out later when we watch those, like the Toys That Made Us or the Shows That Made Us or whatever, like all the politics behind all this stuff. Like to us, it just seems like shows and stuff, and then you find out all these politics and everything, and so it's like, why?
Yep.
Okay, so we usually eat these with mustard. Do you want mustard, Aaron, or no?
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay, so Aaron's, this is the bar S, so you're gonna try this one first, okay?
Bar-esque.
So Aaron's gonna put the camera on him. And he's
All
gonna
right,
take
all
a
right. Oh, it's good. That's really good.
So we like mustard on ours. And I'll take the one that's a little darker.
Okay, which one's mine?
Here, that's yours. Oh, so Vincent likes Serrano in his mustard because why not make it the hottest thing and have it like
Why
lava
not?
hot?
It's awesome.
It's good though.
Okay, so obviously this
Right.
is very
Simple too.
Very
Solid.
simple.
That
perfection.
corn tortilla just adds that little bit, almost like a flauta.
All right, so then I'll let you try the. So then this is Oscar Mayer. So try that one. I want to like have mine lined up here so I can see. All right, so this is Oscar Mayer.
So you gotta dip it in that mustard.
Get on mustard.
I don't know if it's just because I'm used to it. I really like the bar S.
There's definitely a taste difference though.
Yeah, you can definitely taste the difference. So I bet these Nathans are gonna be glorious.
They're gonna be so much better.
I know, these are gonna be glorious. These are gonna be
these
the
peasants
bougie.
need to leave.
El Bougie. El Bougeot hot dog. I'm gonna try this.
Oh yeah, the Nathan's so much better. Okay, I'm sorry. The Nathan's blows it all out of the water.
I don't know, because with the bar S, you get more of that corn flavor from the tortilla.
I'll give you that, but I like the spice in the Nathan's.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that they.
But then I just lose the tortilla. What do you think? What do you think?
I love that crunch. Almost like ASMR right now.
Right?
I gotta taste it again.
I think.
So if I mute my mic, that's why sometimes.
Mute the mic because it's crunchy. No, we want y'all to
We hear
savor
y'all's.
the crunch.
Mine just like. It's like, I'm sorry, guys. I forgot the dinner right there.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't throw any of them out.
No, I'll eat it either way.
I'm just
are
going to
good.
eat all of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish all these.
See, the
fat-
Oscar is more of what I remember as a kid.
Right. It's bringing back that nostalgia for you.
It is. You having some more mustard?
Yeah. The Oscar Mayer has a good flavor though, but they all definitely very much have their own like flavor profile.
Yeah.
So it would depend. So one of the things that I did see, and I don't know if you saw this on the news or not, but there is kind of a group of people who are trying to keep this alive, and we wanted to be part of that group, but I don't know any of those people. But they're restaurant people,
Yeah.
and so I don't know if I can.
But there's like food trucks too that are.
Well,
trying
wait,
to-
but I don't know if I can stomach this or not, because here we go.
Okay.
So in order to keep it alive, they're modernizing it. And you think the Nathans are bougie? Oh,
What
no.
are they adding? What are they adding? Now,
So
hold on,
they're
what are they to this?
adding-
I'm curious.
They're adding freshly made artisan sausages.
I'm out already. Like this is.
I know,
No, I'm already
right?
done. You lost me. You lost me when you said artisan. When it has more than 2 syllables, I'm out.
Yes.
But it ceases to be comfort food at that point.
And
Exactly.
stone ground mixed corn tortillas, freshly made.
Vince, did your mic go out?
Oh, did you lose your batteries? I brought batteries just in case you lost batteries.
I didn't hear you on that
Haha,
last one.
you did lose batteries. Well, I
I
brought
heard
some.
you through her. That's why I was like, wait. So Vince lost
Well,
Vince
and I-
lost his ability to
And
talk.
I'm all for I'm all for modernizing things, don't get me wrong.
Well, yeah,
But
but-
sometimes I think we over bougify.
Well, yeah, and I agree with that. Like right now, I don't know if you've noticed it. Like last couple times I've gone out, everything has that garlic aioli,
Oh yeah.
and I'm like, I hate that sauce.
That's the buzzword. Garlic aioli.
It's like no,
cares?
I don't want all that, and it gets messy sometimes because I've had one place that like dumped it, and when I got up, it was all over my shirt, and I didn't even notice. I was like, I had a button over, and I just buttoned down. I was like, guys, I'm like a messy eater.
Well, but then it gave me another parallel to something that we talked about for comics before is a lot of people want comics to come into the modern times and be more progressive and be more thoughtful of like LGBTQ and people
Right.
of color and stuff like that. But what we're all trying to say is don't try to force that on characters that we already know. You have been successful, and maybe you weren't successful with Masked Raider or whatever, that you first created, and maybe that one didn't fly. Okay, so
Yeah.
you tried again. Like I don't even know, this is something I should have looked up. How many characters has Marvel had over the years? Hundreds, right?
Not thousands,
If not thousands, and some of them hugely successful, right? Great, people picked them up, people loved them. Some of them, they didn't. And they were white dudes,
Well,
it's like,
the funny thing is, and I don't know if you know how much y'all both know about this one. Stan Lee created a lot of Marvel comics, right? Like Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, etc. But he wasn't the reason they did well. If you look, Fantastic Four did well. Spider-Man did well. Daredevil sank. It didn't do well. He almost got canceled. And the only reason it didn't was Frank Miller. Frank Miller picked it up and he revived it. Some of the other ones that Stan Lee did, X-Men, same thing. I think it was Miller or somebody else picked it up, revamped it, it became what it is today.
and then it became about art style, grit, some of the things that people wanted to see,
Exactly.
right?
Because like Spider-Man was his best one, of course. Him and Jack Kirby, obviously, and then you have Fantastic Four with Jack Kirby. But even then, there's comments that Jack Kirby said before he passed. Of course, like he hated drawing certain things of it. He's like, I'm tired of drawing this.
Yeah.
And then of course he ended up going to DC and creating the New Gods. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think it's it's going to take longer than what people anticipate for it to take, right? It's not just going to be an overnight sensation. And when you have a big company like Marvel or DC, you can probably take the time. Now, if you're a
Right.
little restaurant trying to revamp Crispy Dogs, you might not have the time, right?
Right. I don't know, but like, I don't know. I don't like when they revamp food like that. That's like you said, just make something different.
Yeah. Just give us the comfort food that we like. And then, but I guess, if you want a certain type of clientele, but I bet rich people like comfort food too.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, everybody does at the end of the day, I feel like. So, okay, so we've gone over a few things. So I want to ask for both of you, what's the better one so far? Because we've pretty much all eaten all of them. So I see you still have one.
I
the
saw
red
one because I was feeding the dog too.
So starting with, with you over there, Vince, what's your ranking? Let's go worst or best to worst, or worst to best, whichever way we want to go.
It's the worst to best.
You want to go worst? Okay.
It's gonna be the Nathan's is the worst. It should be just because
I'm gonna have to agree with him though. I think it's funny, but I'm gonna agree with Vincent.
I don't think it's not what I grew up with.
Yeah, so you got that nostalgia button.
I don't dislike it, but I think one of the things that I always loved about it was getting a little touch of all the flavors. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the reasons why I like the Bar S is it's not super flavor. Like the Nathan's is super flavorful. Mm-hmm. It's a really great hot dog. As far as hot dog goes, that would be the hot dog that I would choose if I was just having a hot dog.
Right.
But the Bar S, I don't know. It's more like a vessel for the corn tortilla and the cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, so both of it. So Nathan's is the worst for both of y'all. It sounds
Nathan's
like.
is the worst. So
Okay,
what is your
so-
middle?
But
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it the worst.
Not
It
the
was
worst,
just-
but
it's
like
just not
of the
best.
Out of the
it's not
three,
the-
yeah, it just didn't make the top. It didn't make
The
first
middle
place.
is gonna be the Oscar Mayer. And the best is for me is gonna be the Bar S. I don't know. I mean, it's the cheapest option, but for me, it's like it brings me back, 20 years ago, plus.
I think it reminds us so much of like the times with our kids.
Yeah.
And making this with our kids
Right.
and piling up and having that. But I also like if I sit and think about it with the Bar S, I can taste the cheese, I can taste
Right.
the tortilla, like because I don't put a lot of like spice and mustard. Like I put a little mustard, but not as
Right.
much as Vincent. Well, so what did you think? Obviously, you're different.
Mine's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
The middle's the same. Oscar Mayer's in the middle, but Nathan's my top one.
Right.
But I love Nathan hot dogs. But I guess I got bougie over the years. I like to use, like with the Oscar Mayer, I actually use, when I make hot dogs, the Angus beef, the all Angus beef ones.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of like, because it has almost that same flavor for me, and that's what I like. And my kiddo likes how I make my hot dogs. When my mom makes them, she's like, I don't like them. They're not the same.
Oh really?
And my mom's like,
How are they different?
So what I do is I put some, like a little butter in a microwave and give it a little bowl and warm it up. I do those little lines on the hot dog, and then I dip it into the butter and just kind of coat it, and then I grill it. Get a nice grill. It's perfect. I have her warm the buns up. I'm like, you can do that, kid. Like, you're right there.
Right.
She warms them up, puts them in, puts ketchup. She's good. My mom puts the butter in the pan.
Weenies?
Huh?
Oh no, she doesn't boil her weenies.
No, I got her away from that. She used to. I was like,
A lot
I
of
hate
moms
that so
used to boil their
much.
weenies. Yeah.
My
She did that, and I hated
my dad
it.
just sent me a text. Que malo, no invitation.
That's funny.
Well, so it's funny. So your mom puts it right in the pan.
Puts it right in the pan. She puts the butter in the pan, then puts the hot dog. She's like, it's the same thing. And Elena's like, no, they're not.
They're
I
not.
guess because mine coats it where it's just laying in it.
That's so funny.
So she knows the difference.
So, but there's another thing because we talk about but we've used Bar S for a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So what I used to do as a kid, which Colleen at first hated. So I used to make for the kids when they were little egg and weenie tacos. So I'd use the Bar S. You cut up the hot dog, and then you kind of like saute and then put some egg in there, make some scrambled egg in there, and then
So the
put it
weenie
in a
becomes
taco.
like your
Put it in a
bacon or
tortilla.
whatever.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. That makes sense the way you say it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have egg and weenie tacos, and I'm like, nope, nobody likes that. Nope. No, it's actually really, really good. Like you brown the weenie first and make sure that it's nice and kind of got like a little
Right.
caramelization on it, and then
But
you
even
add the
with
eggs
that,
on.
you're like, oh, just use the Nathan's. I tried the Nathan. I was like, it's
It's
not the same.
Well, Nathan's, because it's kosher style, because it's a Jewish hot dog.
Yeah.
They don't have any pork in them, and they add a certain spice to it. That's like their secret.
Well, and
sauce,
when
I
we
guess.
want to have a hot dog, like when I just want a hot dog with some dill relish and some like mustard and
Yeah.
stuff,
That's our
Nathan's
go-to.
is my
Nathan's our
go-to.
go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna put Wolf brand chili on it and like cover it up,
Yeah.
I mean sometimes I want the Nathan's just because it has like a nice flavor
little
profile
bite,
and a
yeah.
nice bite. But I think a lot of the time we still just use the Bar S, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's kind of more of a vehicle for the other flavors that you're putting around it. Ooh, I almost threw that.
He's like, I got it. I'd be
No,
right
he's
there.
like, I need that, Mom. You don't understand how much I need that hot dog. So,
I think I need another Bar S.
yeah, I think we'll be cooking some more.
And if Aaron wants another, why don't we make that?
I'll eat them.
Another
I'm
Nathan.
down.
You want a Nathan's? We'll
I'll
make
take-
you a Nathan's.
I'll take a Nathan's.
All right, here's the bar S because the dog's eating all the bar S. He's getting all the good. That's it. No more for you. Yeah, so it was funny because when you said your mom does it differently, like my first thought was like the boiled weenies. So
Yeah.
my mom had never done that. But when I went to my friends' houses, their moms did that. And I was like, but like boiled it and never like put it in a skillet to brown it afterwards. It was
Same.
just straight boiled weenie. There it is.
Growing up, my mom did it that way. It was just boiled, put it on the bun. It's like, ugh.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
So I do like this kind of combination where I have the skillet like this, and then I put the water in there, cover the hot dogs, let it boil until the water boils out so that it's really warm in the middle,
Right.
and then saute it in the pan and give it like
Interesting.
that, you know, crispy outside. So that's where I'm at.
That's interesting. I've never had it that way.
So which one is this? This is
This
his
is
Nathan.
Nathan.
The last way we had, actually, when we were at Kristen's, me, Robert, and a bunch of other people,
Bar
we
S
were,
for you?
we were smoking the wieners on the pit.
Oh.
And it came out good. But, like, you know, we had chicken, we had all this other, like, nicer meat. And one of the older kids was like, I just want a hot dog. We're like, me and Robert looked at him like, you're like, what, 19? He's like, yeah. Why don't you want the good meat? Why are you going for these hot dogs?
Because sometimes you just want that hot dog, you know?
That's what it was. You just wanted the hot dog. Robert
Well,
just shook his head.
When you were growing up, because you're just a little bit older, I think, than our oldest kid.
How old's your oldest?
Were they doing? Our oldest is 30.
Oh yeah, I'm 6 years older.
Yeah, so not a whole lot older, if you in the scheme of things. They used to do when y'all were growing up 50-cent corn dogs.
We have a
at Sonic.
30-year-old kid?
We do have a 30-year-old kid. Do you remember that
At like Sonic?
at Sonic?
Yeah, they still do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did it last year. They did the 50-cent corn dogs.
Yeah, and they did it at Halloween time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when they do it. I think this year they were like 99 cents. They didn't go that far.
Yeah. It was great, man. We used to take the kids over there and like get a bunch of corn dogs and then bring them back. They'd be loaded up
But-
on corn dog and then we'd send them out in the neighborhood.
But you know what sucks is we didn't have a Sonic in my hometown.
Oh, no?
No, not until like my late teens. I want to say it didn't show up till I was like 14, 15.
So Sonic came out when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
but the first one that I knew about was in Hondo, Texas.
Oh gosh.
And so we would have to drive from here to Hondo, and it was like old school, like, you know, car hop with their skates on.
Hondo,
like,
they had one in on military. Southwest military.
we didn't know about that one. The only one we knew about was the one in Hondo. And so we would drive all the way out to Hondo to go to Sonic because
That's
we thought it was
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, Southwest
You know-
military would have been closer, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably. You know what's funny though? So Robert, so the guy I do that guy, you know,
What's that all about?
just he got a touchdown, I guess.
I guess so.
So my Robert, the guy I do my podcast with, he's actually from Chicago, right? They don't have Sonic up there. So when he first had Sonic, it wasn't until like his 20s.
Yeah.
He came down and he had seen the commercials. He said he was all excited to try. He said he ordered all this food. He hates Sonic.
Oh, Sonic is terrible. Like, I
He
hate
hates
Sonic.
it.
It's the worst.
He was just like, it looks so good, so I ordered like this and then like ordered all this stuff. And he's like, I threw it all out because he was so disgusting.
No, yeah, Sonic is terrible. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
Oh no, we had stars.
Pony.
Did y'all have the stars?
No.
No, we had the stars, which was like a Sonic knockoff, I guess. But they're in like Corpus Christi and like South. So I don't know if they ever got this far up.
I don't think they made it.
But it looks like just a Sonic. It literally looks like Sonic, but with green and white is their color scheme.
Well, and then things like Big Red, I always took Big Red for granted. Like, I just thought everybody knew
Oh, yeah.
what Big Red was, right?
Because that was from Corpus, right?
Yeah. But nobody, like, because Big Red was even a thing when my mom was growing up, because Big Red was a sponsor of this. They had like a dance show on the news here in San Antonio called Swing Time.
Okay.
And my mom was on it, and it was like American Bandstand kind
We
of
gotta
thing.
get a photo of this before we eat them.
Oh, okay.
So we can like make a
Oh,
thumbnail
so we can make
for
a
it.
thumbnail for that.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna
there's
cook
nothing
these.
on there. There's nothing on there.
There's no thumbnail.
I like this overhead shot. That's like the best one for y'all.
Yeah, I like the.
So, you know, mine was Dr. Pepper. That I didn't realize it wasn't everywhere.
Oh, really?
Because Dr. Pepper's what, Dallas, I think, right, is where
Yeah.
it started? So we used to go to Florida a lot when I was younger. And I always loved Dr. Pepper. So go to Florida, it's like Pepsi. It's like, oh, there's no Dr. Pepper. I hate this.
What was it? Dublin, Texas.
Yeah.
Dublin, Texas.
Yeah. Was when it first started.
Oh yeah, I couldn't remember where.
Because we
at.
went to the bottling place,
Up in Irving, right?
They,
but they don't make it there anymore.
they had tried to revamp the bottling company there in Dublin to do the Dublin sodas. They had like had a line of sodas, super like sugary, like all of these like
Well, but they
pomegranate
did it all
grape
with
kind of
with the
bougie
cane sugar.
with the cane sugar, yeah. And they never really went anywhere. So you could go and you could still at least tour the facility, but I don't even know if that's after COVID. I don't even know if they
I don't
had
know
that
either, yeah.
available either.
I know isn't there something up in Irving? I think for
For the Dr. Pepper bottling company that you can go look at. I think so.
because I know it's near. I remember seeing it when I was up there one time for the at the Irving Convention Center. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I don't know. I just saw it. And I was like, oh, I want to go there, and never went.
You know, that's what we need is like a comic book museum where they put the artists behind glass, like a zoo. And then they're drawing and stuff, and we can go stare at them.
You see with the like food, like they come the handler to come in, and they have like a little bag, and they just like they're trying to hand it to him.
Trying to give them the food. That would be awesome. Can somebody please make that?
I don't know if we mentioned, but these used to be on menus. Here in San Antonio.
They're still at Ray's. You can still
They're
get
still
them
at
at Ray's.
Now, where I originally saw them was at the Malt House, which the Malt House isn't a thing anymore on Zazamoda.
Closed down, and I had never been to the Malt House. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny because
No, we did go to the Malt House before it closed. Yeah, once.
once before it closed.
Once
That's right.
before
But
it
like when I
closed.
was growing up, I didn't go. I think one of the things that people don't realize about San Antonio until you get here and you live here is San Antonio is very large. It's very spread out.
So it's very siloed.
So we very much stay on our sides of town.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you're south side, you stay on the south side. If you're west side, you stay on the west side, and so forth. So a lot of the things you would tell me, like growing up, oh, I went here, I went there, and I'm like, never been there.
Oh, like Bud Jones.
I had been to Bud Jones. This is Aaron's. I just want to keep Aaron's separate so that he gets the good.
The bougie one. Got it.
But like the Malt House, I had not been. And some of the other stuff I had been to though was because my grandparents lived over, like Wizards that you like to go to.
Oh,
That's more like on the east side. Floyd's.
Yeah, that was really good.
Floyd's is so good.
Yeah, it's not open anymore.
It's
but
not
it was
open
so
anymore. It
good.
was so good.
But there's so much that's just kind of like gone away.
Yeah,
Like
and
you used to get like 5 hamburgers for like $2.22 at Floyd's.
oh, I think when we were little kids, it was like $5 to $1 when we were little.
Yeah.
Because we used to go when I was little bitty. We'd go over there.
Like there was also in that same area, Taco Hut, you could get like 5 tacos for like $2.
You know, one of the places that you've told me about that I've never gotten to go to is Rolando's. Every time
the
we
super
try to go to
tacos.
Rolando's
Yeah.
for a super taco.
A super
it's-
taco.
Yes. So Vincent, explain about the super tacos.
So
I gotta take this.
it's a
picture.
taco that's probably about that big.
Oh wow,
Yeah. It's insane.
that's crazy.
That's definitely, and I think if you get like barbacoa, it's like a pound of barbacoa or something crazy like that.
It's
So
insane. It was interesting because Netflix came out with that series.
we'll get all this other stuff out of the way.
Oh, I just did a close up on it, but okay.
Got to get all the shots.
Get all the
No,
shots.
like do it on the corner so you have like more empty
Okay.
area.
This is Vince.
So Netflix did a series that Vincent and I watched called Taco Chronicles.
Taco Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This Crispy Dogs was in there.
Crispy Dogs was not on it, not yet.
Not yet.
But that thing is a crispy dog. Considered a taco? Should it be?
I mean,
think
if it's
a
in a
taco.
tortilla, yeah. Thank you.
Annie, no. Anakin,
Leave it.
leave it. Sorry, the dog will try to eat Aaron and his food. But the donut shop is a place in town that's pretty famous for its tacos. You're gonna, like, put your taco.
Yeah.
Put your thing. We're gonna take a picture for the thumbnail.
Hold on, let me get some.
Ándale, por favor. Wait, I can almost see light.
There's too much light.
I know.
I told him there was too much light earlier.
The dog.
So I had not been to the donut shop. Vincent obviously had. So we see it
I
on-
had never been to the. I've had tacos from the donut shop
Okay. I did not realize that. So
on Fredericksburg. I told
yeah,
you that.
I know, but I don't listen to you. So we were like, oh, it's a good idea. Let's go. Well, Colleen does not like to get up in the mornings. And so we get there at what, like 9:45 or something?
Mm-hmm.
Do not try to get there at 9:45 because now that Taco Chronicles has come out, it's like
It's blown up.
it's exploded. It's blown up and you can't even get in there.
Yep.
But do try to go.
Yes.
Like, please do try to go. So I love that things like that are coming out on Netflix and stuff because it's keeping some of these businesses alive that I
Yeah.
think after everything that we went through with COVID
Yeah.
probably would have, died out and stuff. So I think take a comic book and get a taco, make a crispy
There you
dog,
go.
keep history alive. I think that's
Sit
great.
around, do some reading, and munch on some crispy dogs.
And
So
munch on
it's gonna go. But thanks. I really appreciate you checking us out. If you haven't subscribed, click on that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so the next time we go live, you'll know. But thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and thanks a lot, Aaron. Geek out,
Geek out
essay.
essay.